What up, everybody, and welcome back to the Endzone, brought to you by Gym Bag Entertainment, and this is your football show, and I'm your host, Craig, and I've got some football news for you. I'm going to jump into a little bit of news. I'm going to jump into some options of trades in the first round of the draft, and then I have a few rankings for fantasy football. So let's jump right into some news. First and foremost, Logan Ryan, former Patriot, has played with a multitude of teams like Tennessee and the 49ers throughout his career, has decided to retire, and two-time Super Bowl champ, hanging his cleats up, and couldn't be more proud of this guy. He did a lot for the New England Patriots, and he has been a remarkable cornerback throughout his career. And, much blessings to him in his future endeavors, but he's retiring. Also, we have Jadeveon Clowney signing with the Carolina Panthers. I like this move a lot. I said it earlier in shows. I thought that would be a good signing for them, especially with the loss of Brian Burns. Rashee Rice, wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, involved in a racing accident with his Lamborghini. Him and his friends flee the scene, and the car was registered to him, so sure enough, the police were seeking him out. He since has turned himself in, I guess, and has admitted to wrongdoing. This is more than likely going to lead to a multiple game suspension. My guess, 4 to 6, could be 8. But I would say first-time offense, it could be most likely 4 to 6. But you also have to take into account he fled the scene, which is a huge offense where most people would probably go to jail. He's probably going to avoid jail, probably going to have to pay some fines. But I think that the NFL might make an example of him because this is not good. You only flee the scene because you were drunk and don't want to have to take a breathalyzer. You cannot prove that he was drunk, once he's turned himself in days later. So presumably he's going to have a multi-game suspension. Where does that put the Kansas City Chiefs? They did sign Marquise Brown. They're more than likely going to grab a first-round wide receiver. So where does the Kansas City offense going to fall while his suspension takes place, whatever that may be? But not a good look for a young receiver, and not a good look on the NFL. Like, these young kids come in the NFL, they're getting all this money and they're partying. He just won a Super Bowl. I think we gotta rail him in. We gotta find ways to keep these young kids in check. They're not full-grown adults. We're not talking about 25, 30-year-old men. We're talking about young boys. So let's do better by them and find ways to, keep them in line. Then we have safety Kyle Duggar agrees to a 4-year deal with the New England Patriots, $58 million. So that's huge for the Patriots to get this guy back on the roster. And in the biggest news of the week, the Houston Texans trade with the Buffalo Bills to acquire Stephon Diggs. They give up a second-round pick and I believe a fifth, and then they receive Stephon Diggs and I believe a fifth and a sixth. So they didn't have to pay a high price tag for him. They've also structured his deal to give him bonus and a signing bonus and guaranteed money in order to free him up of his remaining 2 years of his contract from the Buffalo Bills, making him a 2025 free agent. This would most likely be in the hopes to get the best Stephon Diggs they can get in order for him to attract other teams into signing a big deal for him on another team. This is a win-now Houston's team. And I'm telling you right now, I got C.J. Stroud, MVP. Houston Texans, they're going to the ship with this roster. Joe Mixon, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, C.J. Stroud. Their O-line will be healthy. They have the young kid Will Anderson on the edge, and you gotta assume that they're gonna use the rest of the remaining draft capital to acquire defensive weapons. And this team is not to be trifled with. They also got Dalton Schultz at tight end. This team is extremely dangerous. C.J. Stroud's second year, man, as long as everybody stays healthy, this becomes the team to beat. Win now. Head coach DeMeco Ryans is just pushing for that head coach of the year, and this is the team that I think can make it happen. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. All right. Now that we're done with the NFL news, let's talk about day one draft. I have some really cool trade concept ideas. Let's start with the Arizona Cardinals. So, the Arizona Cardinals have the number 4 pick. I believe they trade that number 4 pick to Minnesota for the 11th and the 23rd overall pick. More than likely, they might even get a 2025 pick, maybe even a first rounder. And the Minnesota Vikings use that number 4 overall pick to get the quarterback that they want the most, J.J. McCarthy. Then Arizona takes the number 23 pick plus their number 27 pick, trades it to the Los Angeles Chargers for the number 5 pick overall, allowing them to still grab Marvin Harrison Jr. Because now you're getting the first 4 picks as quarterbacks. Arizona comes in back at number 5, gets Marvin Harrison Jr., and the Chargers, they bulk up on even more draft picks. Arizona then takes the number 11 pick and a 3rd round pick and trades with the Giants to go up to the 6th overall pick and takes Malik Neighbors. Now let that sink in. Marvin Harrison Jr., number one wide receiver in the draft. Malik Neighbors, number 2 in the draft. They have last year's rookie, Trey McBride, top 10, maybe even top 5 tight end last year. Definitely going to be a top 5 this year. With Kyler Murray. And they got Greg Dortch. This offense will be unstoppable. It will be a show. And I would be so excited to watch it. Plus, you got James Conner in the backfield who probably still has a little left in the tank. And maybe they use one of those 4th round picks to grab one of these young kids at the running back position. But if you get Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors on the same roster, and they have the draft capital to make something like that happen, I 100% believe that with the picks that they have, they could jump up into that spot. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. Let's be clear. These are, let's call them fantasy trades. And I'm not an Arizona Cardinals fan. I got no claim, no stakes in this little trade dream I came up with. But you get Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors on the same squad. 2 guys who do different things, but 2 guys who are the top prospects in this draft on the same roster. Man, that's fireworks, and I'm here for it. Next, we have New England. New England got the number 3 overall pick. And I love Jaden Daniels. He's the guy I want, but let's just say we can't get him. It's Drake May. New England trades the number 3 overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders for their number 12 pick, or 13, number 13 pick, and Davante Adams, plus their number 44. So we get their first round, their second round, and Davante Adams for our number 3, plus our 3rd round draft pick as well. So basically swapping 3rd round picks and swapping 1st round picks, and we get Davante Adams. Then we trade their 11 plus our 4th round pick to get to the number 8 pick, which would be the Atlanta Falcons, and we get Rome Odunze. So now we got Davante Adams and Rome Odunze, But then we still have the second round pick, number 34, and if he falls to us, we can draft Michael Penix Jr. in the second round. So we got Michael Penix, we got Devontae Adams, we got the third best wide receiver in the draft, we got Demario Douglas, we got a great run game, and a decent O-line, which we can also add to in the draft. We're cooking with fire, baby. New England's back in the playoff hunt. Losing Stephon Diggs takes a big hit on Buffalo, and unless they just hit the magic button on the wide receiver in the draft, I think they could end up being the number 2, the bottom. They could be the bottom. They could be number 4 team in the division. Because, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, it's probably going to be Jets at 1, Miami at 2, us at 3. But with this trade, we could jump up to that second spot. And that rings beautiful music for the New England Patriots. All right. Now, final trade. Now, once again, these are all separate things that can happen. So, obviously, if the Arizona thing happens, then this next trade can't. So, let's talk about the Chargers and Minnesota. So, let's just say Arizona, they want to keep that number 4 slot. They want Marvin Harrison Jr. They're not trading down. They're not risking the inability to trade back up. Minnesota, on the horn, bling, bling, bling. Chargers, we want Justin Herbert. We'll give you the 11th overall, the 23rd overall pick. You send us Justin Herbert. Chargers are like, just you're gonna give us 2 more first-round picks for Justin Herbert, and we can draft J.J. McCarthy? Done deal. Boom. Hang it up. Chargers trade Justin Herbert to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings become Super Bowl contenders overnight. The Chargers take the number 5 overall pick. They draft a quarterback that they believe is the number 1 quarterback in this year's draft, J.J. McCarthy. With the number 11 pick, they draft Brock Bowers, tight end. And then with the number 23 pick, best available wide receiver. Is it Brian Thomas Jr.? Is it A.D. Mitchell or Keon Coleman? Whoever it is, you grab the best available wide receiver, and you just made out. You got the type of quarterback you want for the type of offense you want to run. You want to run heavy offense? You got it. Then you take your 3rd-round draft pick, and you go and get yourself Blake Corum, the running back you said has been the best running back you've coached since Frank Gore. You already have Gus Edwards in the backfield, Joshua Kelly, Isaiah Spiller, 4-headed monster. Run them in a rotation. The hot hand stays on the field. You get yourself a nice rookie quarterback, rookie wide receiver, and 2 nice vets on the end, and you got yourself the best rookie tight end in this draft. And I don't know how it gets better than that. Minnesota Vikings become Super Bowl contenders. The Chargers pave the way to have the exact type of offense they love to run with guys that are going to do exactly what they want, the way they want it done, because Jim Harbaugh, he already coached J.J. McCarthy, so he knows how to get what he needs out of him. He coached Blake Corum. He knows how to get what he needs out of him. He gets a tight end weapon, in Blake Bowers. And then, like I said, J.J. McCarthy, and you get a rookie wide receiver with the last pick. And I think that, that's a win. Nothing but winning here for the Chargers. I like the move by the Chargers more. Justin Herbert to Minnesota is incredible. It's a big salary cap hit. If Minnesota takes on the salary cap, it's better for the Chargers. If they don't, I think the Chargers have gotten rid of enough and could make it work. They got a lot of young rookies, not going to have to pay out a lot. So I like this move a lot. All right. Now that we got through that, do I have anything else? No more news. So I got for you, for my fantasy football enthusiasts, I have the truest, the best rundown fantasy football, not draft order, but rankings. This is my fantasy football rankings. Early rankings, though it may be, here it goes. Number 1 overall, gotta be Christian McCaffrey. Do I think Christian McCaffrey is going to finish number 1 overall? I don't really know. Usually, running backs who finish number 1 overall don't repeat. There's only been 2 or 3 running backs. I think 2. One of them was Ezekiel Elliott, and the other one was, can't remember, so it doesn't matter. So, Christian McCaffrey, by far, the best running back in the NFL. If he remains healthy, chances are he is going to finish number 1 overall. More than likely, he's going to be the number 1 overall draft pick in most drafts. You'll have the naysayers. I'm not personally going to draft CMC number 1 if I got it, but more than likely he's going to go number 1. Number 2 and number 3 are a tie for me, and it's Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb. For argument's sake, we're going to go Tyreek Hill, fastest wide receiver, showing no signs of slowing down and showing all kinds of durability. Last year, got hurt multiple times and came back in the game and played through it and put up numbers. I believe there's nothing that's going to slow Tyreek Hill down. I do not think he's fallen off a cliff this year. Tyreek Hill, number 2. CeeDee Lamb showed last year that he is a stud. He is him. I love CeeDee Lamb. He's probably my favorite fantasy wide receiver this year. So go ahead and get him. He's number 3. At 4, I got Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, this is the redemption season. Jamar Chase is itching to prove himself and showcase why he was a first-round wide receiver and why he's the best wide receiver in this league. Number 5, next running back will be Breece Hall. Breece Hall has, to some degree, has already broken out. If we get a healthy Aaron Rodgers and we get a healthy O-line, I believe Breece Hall has it in him to be the number 1 running back in this season. Then, the number 6, my actual favorite wide receiver. I've loved him for the last 2 seasons, and he has not let me down. I had him last year. We came this close to getting a ship together. The sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Homeboy is a target hog. He earns targets, he gets separation, and he gets yards after contact. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the Cooper Kupp of the season. Next, I have Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is part of my big 3. Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson will all be fighting for rushing title this year. Bijan Robinson has new coaching. He has a new quarterback. He is going to be utilized the way he should have been utilized since day 1, and that is as the bell cow. He can run it up the middle. He can run it out the edge. He can catch passes out of the backfield. He is the best running back in this year's draft. My personal favorite, I am the Bijan fan. Bijan Robinson at number 7. A.J. Brown at number 8, pure beast. Whether or not he's in Philly, I've heard rumbles of possibly him being traded. There might be a little bit of hostility in that wide receiver room. You don't want to be there anymore, A.J. Brown. Go where you wanted to go in the first place. New England Patriots need you. A.J. Brown at number 8. Saquon Barkley going to Philly. This, I told you before, I'm going to say it again. Vintage Saquon. He is going to be an absolute dog this year. Nothing's stopping him. Behind that O-line, yeah, they lost the center. They'll fill that slot in the draft. I believe that this roster is being built to win again. They won a Super Bowl. It's very likely. Adding Saquon Barkley, best move you could have made for football and for fantasy. Saquon Barkley at number 9. Jonathan Taylor at 10. The boy's a beast. He was held back a little bit last year. They got rid of Zach Moss. Look for Jonathan Taylor to resurge and be one of those top 5 backs. This might be a little bit of a surprise to some people, but at number 11, I got Justin Jefferson. And here's the reason why. It's only for one reason. Right now, the quarterback is Sam Darnold. And not that I hate Sam Darnold. I'm not one of these Sam Darnold haters, but I'm also not a Sam Darnold believer. So until I know for certain that Sam Darnold could sling that ball, I cannot draft Justin Jefferson in the top half of the first round. And I had him up and I kept pushing him down because every single player I named, I would draft before just drafting Justin Jefferson. Now, if Minnesota goes ahead and gets Justin Herbert, or they trade up for Drake May or J.J. McCarthy, my opinion could change. But right now, especially with the injury he took last year, I cannot jump on the Justin Jefferson hype train. And 100%, if he's going in the first round, it won't be by this guy. At number 12, I don't love this pick. I'm going to be honest with you. This pick right here is a little bit of peer pressure, if I so to say. All the analysts got Kyren Williams as a top 3 running back. They got him above Bijan in some drafts. And I don't know that I believe in what I saw last year. 100%, he is a dog. He's a good running back. He's a bell cow. But here's the problem. He got hurt, and he's known for getting hurt. He's never played this level of football, so in the NFL. So I'm not gonna put my eggs in his basket with only one season of proof. He wasn't even the starter going into the season. It was Cam Akers. So can he repeat this performance next year? Maybe he can. But once again, I'm not putting my eggs in that basket. But Kyren Williams, end of the draft, 12 overall. I want to kind of do this like a snake draft because, like I said, this is not draft order. This is a ranking. But let's kind of see it like a draft order. Second round caliber. Number 1 in the second round is Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson was somewhat disappointing last year with horrible quarterback play, but yet still managed to be in double digits almost every week. I had him on my fantasy roster, and I had super high hopes for him, and he showed me that if he's got a good quality quarterback, that he can actually be a number 1 wide receiver. He could be a top 5 wide receiver this year. And if you can snake him in the second round, I'm telling you right now, it's a steal. If he would have had Aaron Rodgers last year, Garrett Wilson would be a top 5 pick this year, hands down. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. So Garrett Wilson, first pick, second round. Number 2, this is another one that I do believe in this running back, but I'm a little leery about how high I put him up, and other people have him in the first round, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot. I think he is a remarkable running back. My only problem with Jahmyr Gibbs is David Montgomery. David Montgomery is a presence, and he showed last year behind this Detroit Lions offensive line that he ain't just a third down back or a change of pace back. He can handle the workload. And when either one of these guys get hurt, the other one is going to step right in and be that every down workhorse. But until that happens, it's going to be a committee. I think both guys are going to hit double digits on a weekly basis. But I think sometimes Gibbs is going to go off. Sometimes Montgomery's going to go off. And I do believe Montgomery will get the lion's share of touchdowns. So that's my only problem. But Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm just going to go numbers, at number 14. At number 15, I got Michael Pittman. Now, Michael Pittman showed last year that he's a stud, wide receiver, worthy of even a first-round draft pick. And when I first did these rankings, I had him at the end of the first, but I had to drop him down a couple slots. Anthony Richardson played last year, incredible ball, right? And he was dishing out the rock. He was getting the ball down the field. Michael Pittman was doing very well with Anthony Richardson under center. But we haven't seen a full sample size. We only got a few games before he went down for the season. Can he play an entire season? And if he can't, who's the backup? It's Joe Flacco. Now, yeah, Joe Flacco likes to sling it, but will Michael Pittman be his number 1 target? Will it be Josh Downs? If they draft Brock Bowers, will it be Brock Bowers? It's kind of uncertain. Are they just going to run the ball? I'm a little leery, but he's still an early second-round pick, and I think that's just fine for Michael Pittman. Number 16, Puka Nacua. No, I'm going to do it as rounds. Number 4, second round, Puka Nacua. people got Puka Nacua in the first round. Like, they don't realize that Cooper Kupp still exists. Now, obviously, I got Puka over Cooper. Cooper's older. Puka's younger. He showed that he can earn targets and get separation. So I got to put Puka in the middle of the second round. But a part of me wanted to even drop him a little bit lower. 1 year, one great season. It doesn't necessarily give you that second round burst. And I do believe in the talent. He showed it off, and I like him a lot. I don't know that I could draft him in the second round, but I think this is where he falls. 4th pick, second round. Fifth pick, second round. I have Alvin Kamara. Another pick that made me a little bit uncomfortable, but I am okay with putting him here. Last year, he showed he still had gas left in the tank. Last year, he showed that he is a running back that is worthy of being drafted as your number 1, number 2 running back. And if they can get this O-line in place and they can feed him the rock, I think Alvin Kamara can have at least one more good season in him. Preferably, I would like to have him as my number 2 running back, but if you're getting him in the second round, he's definitely going to be your number 1 guy. At number 6, we got Brandon Ayuk, the wide receiver who even though I put him here knowing that there is a strong possibility he might not even be on the 49ers. And why do I put him here? Because Brandon Ayuk is probably, if not the best, one of the best route runners in the NFL. I think he is a top 5 wide receiver, and he just needs to be on a team where he can be the focal point of that offense. Which is why I'm really hoping and praying if the Patriots draft Jaden Daniels or Drake May with the first round pick, that they use that second round pick to trade for Brandon Ayuk, or maybe a first round in 2025, whatever the case may be. I would be okay with a 2025 first round draft pick for Brandon Ayuk. I think he is that premier wide receiver who is on a team that has too many weapons. And right after him, I got Deebo Samuels. Last year, I was off on the Deebo Samuels train, and last year he proved to me that he is still that guy to be feared. And on that team, in that system, he is a dog, but quite possibly could also be a potential trade option for San Fran if they want to stick with Brandon Ayuk and pay him. But Deebo Samuel is a guy you should be afraid of. And I got him at number 7 in the second. At number 8, Travis Etienne. At this point, he's best running back available. Last year, he had a great year. Tank Bigsby proved that he is not that dude, and I don't care what the coaches say. Travis Etienne is going to be 3-down back, and he can catch passes out of the backfield. He can make big plays. Travis Etienne is the dude there at number 8. At number 9, we got DJ Moore. DJ Moore, I have all the faith in the world that if Caleb Williams is even remotely close to what they think he's going to be, then DJ Moore is going to have by far the best quarterback play he's ever had. And with bad quarterback play, he has been a top 10, top 15 wide receiver. So I feel like top 10 to top 5 wide receiver is well in his realm of possibilities. So you got to grab him in the second round while you can. At number 10, I got Cooper Kupp. I still think Cooper Kupp, if he can remain healthy on a team that's a loaded offensive roster, I think he can still get back, not necessarily to top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, but top 15, top 10 even. So do not give up on Cooper Kupp yet. I still think that he has the potential to show that greatness that he once had. And he still has Matt Stafford, and Matt Stafford still looks good. So high hopes for Cooper Kupp. At number 11 in the second round, Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper shunned all the naysayers last year. No matter who his quarterback was, he performed. So I like him at the end of the second. And then finally, I put Marvin Harrison Jr. at the end of the second round. A lot of people have him mid to high second round. I got to put him at the bottom of it. He hasn't proved anything at the NFL level. Not that I don't think that he will, but come on now. He's still a rookie. End of the second round is a fair price point. Once again, I don't know if I want to pay that price point because I also think that's his ceiling for his first year. And you want to draft a guy at the point where he at his highest level when I don't think Marvin Harris is going to be a first round draft pick next year. So I don't know. I like him, but I'm not going to go any higher than the end of the second. Beginning of the third, we got Josh Jacobs. I think that there is a possibility, there's a crack in the door that Josh Jacobs could be one of the big four. I got the big three: Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson. Let's throw Josh Jacobs in this conversation. I had to put him in the beginning of the third round because last year wasn't great. But now he's on an offense that is firing on all cylinders. They want to win now, and they have the Super Bowl in their eyesights. Jordan Love is playing incredible ball. The only thing they lacked last year was a do-it-all running back. In come Josh Jacobs. I got him at the beginning of the third round. Then Devontae Adams. I had to put Devontae Adams in the third round because we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like. Who is going to be throwing the rock? If it is Gardner Minshew, third round is good enough. If it's any of these other guys, Aiden O'Connell, I'm dropping Devontae Adams to the fourth round. If they get a Drake May, if they get a Michael Penix or a Bo Nix, then I'm going to keep him right where he is, beginning of the third. Then I got Mike Evans. Mike Evans, I got him in the beginning of the third, which I think is low, but once again, he's getting older. You don't want to invest too much draft capital on a guy who could at any moment fall off that cliff. Do I think it's this season? I absolutely do not. The rapport between him and Baker Mayfield is only going to be stronger this season. They could even have a better season. But with his age and the way he plays ball, injury is always a possibility, and lack of production based, because he's getting older. So beginning of the third round is where I'm willing to risk a pick on Mike Evans. At number 4, first tight end off the board, Sam Laporta. Best tight end last year. Tell me different. I don't want to hear it. He was the best tight end last year, and I got to have him over Travis Kelce and all the rest because I think he is the new, I don't want to call him a new Rob Gronkowski because he's not as good of a blocker, but the talent is there. The quarterback is there. They're playing more than half their games in a dome where Jared Goff has his most success. He's the number 2 option, and the safety blanket, Sam Laporta, at the number 4 pick of the third round. At the number 5 pick, I got Devon Achane. And a lot of people have Devon Achane in the first round or in the early second. Sorry, I can't do it for you. Devon Achane is amazing. Speedster. If he gets in the open field, oh man, he's going to go 40, 50 yards on you to the house. But he is a breakable toy. I don't like breakable toys. I don't like guys who are going to miss 4, 6, 8 games a season where I got to invest a third, even a first or second round pick on. I can't justify it. All toys can break. He is a very breakable toy. And the way he plays ball, I can't invest that high of a pick on him. But with his explosiveness, you cannot drop him any lower than the middle point of the third round. At number 6, I put Patrick Mahomes. I got Patrick Mahomes as the first quarterback off, and his creativity, his ability to extend plays, I have to put him here. Last year was super disappointing, no weapons. But now we got Marquise Brown. Let's presume he's going to play more than half the season. Rashee Rice, maybe he's going to miss a couple games, but he's still going to be there. You might not get the best play in the first couple games of the season, but I think Patrick Mahomes will return to form as it pertains to fantasy and have an outstanding season. And right after that, I got his boy Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco pounds the rock. Homeboy is a mini Derrick Henry. He runs angry, and he gets those yards and can catch passes out of the backfield. I think he was one of the steals in the draft last year. Wherever you drafted him, you stole him. I traded for him, and it was a straight robbery. Ski mask on and everything. It was one of my favorite acquisitions of the year, and it played out well. He got me to the bowl game. Unfortunately, he didn't help me win it. Excuse me. Next, I got James Cook. It's got to be James Cook here in the third round because with not many weapons left in Buffalo, no matter who they draft, they're going to go to the run game. They're going to pound the rock with James Cook. Last year, he was a top 15 to top 10 running back, and he was super consistent. Yeah, of course, he had a few off games. Who didn't? But I think he's going to have his breakout season this year. He's going to catch a lot of passes out of the backfield, and they got to preserve Josh Allen. He's getting too old to be running in at the goal line. I think they're going to turn to James Cook. At number 9, I got Drake London. Now, if you ain't paying attention, that's on you. Drake London is going to be a top 12 wide receiver this year. So in the 3rd round, to me, is a steal. Kirk Cousins knows where to butter the bread. And it's going to start with Drake London. And he's going to be an absolute beast. At the number 10 in the 3rd round, I'm not loving this pick that much, but I don't feel comfortable putting him any lower than this. I got Chris Olave. And I mean, what can I say? Chris Olave is an incredible wide receiver. Bad play last year, whether it was the O-line, whether Derek Carr was off. I don't know what it was. He didn't get many touchdowns, and it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. Chris Olave was a 2nd-round pick, so I got to drop him to that 3rd round. And weird enough, I gotta switch this up. I don't know what happened, but I got James Cook in here twice. I don't know why I did that. So I'm going to go to the number 12, Rachaad White, running back, Tampa Bay. Last year, he proved that even though he is not an incredibly efficient runner, he is a high-volume runner and can catch passes out of the backfield. And as far as running backs go, he is best available. So you got to go Rachaad White at the number 11 in the 3rd round. At the end of the 3rd round, you got to get that quarterback. C.J. Stroud is the number 2 quarterback this season, possibly number 1. With all these wide receivers, tight end, running back, weapons galore, presumably a healthy O-line, I would not be surprised if C.J. Stroud is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy and the number 1 quarterback in real NFL life. C.J. Stroud is a dog, and if he can bring it together this season, sky's the limit, and he's gonna pump points out for you. At the number one in the 4th round, I got Derrick Henry. The only reason why I have Derrick Henry this low is because he's an older dog. You know what I'm saying? In all reality, if you draft Derrick Henry in the 2nd round, you will not be wrong to do so. He is going to have one of his best seasons this year behind a team that is run first. The Baltimore Ravens running backs collectively as a whole scored over 20 touchdowns last year, and they were all trash. Derrick Henry is far superior. All those touchdowns could go to him and more. Presumably, Baltimore is going to most likely draft a wide receiver in the 1st round, and their offense is going to be cooking. They got a little bit of rebuilding in the offensive line. They got a bit of rebuilding to do on the defense, but they're great at both of those things, so I do not see it being a problem. Derrick Henry is going to be vintage. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, vintage. Trust in it. Believe in it. And then, got to put Lamar Jackson right after him. Lamar Jackson's going to get you the yards. He's going to be throwing the ball. Like I said, they're going to draft a wide receiver, most likely in the 1st round. They got Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews, if he can remain healthy. I don't believe in Rashad Bateman. Maybe they bring back Odell Beckham. I don't know. But Lamar Jackson is going to have a good year this year. I think Derrick Henry is going to reignite that fire. Kenneth Walker, running back for the Seahawks in the 4th round, 3rd pick. I just think he's a dog. I don't think we have anything to worry about with Homeboy as the number 2 back. I think Kenneth Walker, as long as he remains healthy, is super elusive and excellent running back. At number 5, I had to go Jalen Hurts here. The addition of Saquon Barkley is going to open up the passing game. They lost 0 weapons. Chances are they're going to bring somebody else in. This is just the offense that's built for fantasy. So it got to go Jalen Hurts. At number 5 in the 4th round, DK Metcalf. I mean, this is about as low as I could put him. Not much else I can say. He is a stud. As long as they get the ball to him, he's going to put up numbers. And then finally, Travis Kelce. It's Travis Kelce. What else can you say? I think that he's going to do something. He's never going to suck. And if he does, he won't be playing in the NFL anymore. Enough said there. Devontae Smith, once again, the Eagles are meant to score. Devontae Smith is an incredible wide receiver. He'd be a number 1 on any other team, so I got to put him there. And then Keenan Allen at number 11. This is going to be, I think we're just going to get exactly what we got last year and just good production from the old man, He hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. I mean, he has shown signs of slowing down, but no signs of being non-productive. So until that happens, you got to treat him like a top 4 round pick. At the end of that round, you got to go with Josh Allen. I had Josh Allen as the number 1 pick, but with the loss of Stephon Diggs, I can't justify that anymore. Everybody else has more weapons, and which will give them more ability to do what they do best. So Josh Allen has to fall to the end of the 4th round. And then to start up that 5th round, got to go with Jalen Waddle. I'm looking at Jalen Waddle as this will be a steal. Jalen Waddle was a late 2nd, early 3rd round pick last year. It did not pan out. I'm looking for him to either 1, resurge, or 2, be traded to a team where he can show off his elite talent. Then we got at the 2nd pick, I got to bring in Malik Neighbors. The presumption is he's going to go to either the Chargers, who Justin Herbert will be his quarterback, or he will go to the Giants, who he'll be the number 1 offensive weapon. And Daniel Jones can at least deliver the ball to him, and he can make the plays. So I think he will be a great 5th round pick. Then I got we'll call them the big 3 for right now, just for the Texas 3. Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins. Not in that order. Sorry, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, in that order. Nico Collins is going to be the number 1 receiver for the Houston Texans. He's a big body wide receiver who can go after the ball. Stephon Diggs, number 2, because you can utilize him anywhere on the field. He'll get separation, and he'll make the play. Tank Dell is your speedster, downfield, big play guy. And I think that Tank Dell coming off injury makes him a little bit more risky, which is why you got to put him at 3rd. Nico Collins is the younger, bigger-bodied ex-wide receiver that is just going to get the ball. And Stephon Diggs is the guy who needs to prove it. So I think it's Nico Collins at 3, Stephon Diggs at 4, Tank Dell at 5. Then at number 6, I got Deontay Johnson coming from the Steelers over to Carolina. And I think that this is going to be a huge steal for anybody who gets him this late. Deontay Johnson is a target earner. He gets that separation. And if he can be what Adam Thielen was last year, I think he'll excel far beyond what Adam Thielen was doing. Adam Thielen was a top 10 wide receiver first half of the season. Deontay Johnson, I think, will pull that off for the entirety of the season and will elevate Bryce Young to the quarterback he was meant to be. And Adam Thielen sticking around spells nothing but success for the young quarterback. I got Zay Flowers next. Zay Flowers proved himself last year. I think he's going to take another step forward this year. So in the 5th round is a great spot to grab him. Then Anthony Richardson. I almost want to put Anthony Richardson above Josh Allen and maybe switch him to the last pick of the 4th. I think Anthony Richardson, if he remains healthy, is going to be a top 5, if not top 3 quarterback in fantasy, not in the NFL. At number 9 in the 5th round, you have Ramondre Stevenson. I still think the kid can ball out. He had a rough year last year, but all the Patriots had a rough year last year because it was a terrible season. No good ball was played in New England last year. So if we can get a nice rookie quarterback and add to that wide receiver room, it will give Ramondre Stevenson more ability to be that playmaker that we all know he can be. At number 10, I got Trey McBride. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I almost want to switch Trey McBride to the slot that I have Travis Kelce in. I think Trey McBride proved that he is a top 5 tight end in the NFL, and I think he could be taking another step forward this year and possibly be a top 3. And then I have Jaden Reed, wide receiver from Green Bay, he showed toward the end of the season that he could be that guy. Is he the number 1? I don't believe so. Is he a high-level number 2? Absolutely. Does he have the quarterback play? Absolutely. And all they're going to do this year is build up on that offensive line and shore up that defense, giving them more opportunities to get the ball out. And with that run game, it's going to open up the pass game even more. So Jaden Reed could be a real steal here. At the end of the 12th round, you got to put in Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was a fantasy beast last year, but with the contract problems going on right now and, not knowing where he may be, is he going to stay in Dallas? Are they going to trade him away? I had that option of him being traded to New England Patriots. That, something like that is still an option that's available, but the end of the 5th round seems like a perfect slot for Dak Prescott. To start the 6th round, I got to put Joe Burrow here. Do I think Joe Burrow is a 6th round quarterback? Absolutely not. I think he's a 3rd or a 4th round guy, but injuries and bad play last year got me being a little bit more leery of his situation. Got to show me something this year. So if you can pull it off this year, you get bumped up next year. But right now, beginning of the 6th round is a good slot for him. And then we jump right into Calvin Ridley, a wide receiver I love, had high hopes for last year, was very disappointing. A lot of that had to do with bad O-line and miscues on offense. Plus, he was drawing a ton of DPI. So I think Calvin Ridley on the Tennessee Titans could be a good thing. You got a gunslinger in Will Levis, and you got a wide receiver who can now play in the position he was always meant to play, alongside with DeAndre Hopkins. You got Treylon Burks at the slot, so and you have Chig Okonkwo. So I think the ability to distribute this ball a little bit better is only going to work in Calvin Ridley's favor. It's going to leave him with less double coverage. I think that Calvin Ridley will shine this year. Then Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin had to drop deep, so the 6th round is a good spot for him. They're going to get a rookie quarterback, whether it's Drake May or Jaden Daniels. I think that with the new coaching squad, the only thing left to do is build up that O-line to give their quarterback time to throw the ball, and we'll see how that plays out. At the number 4 slot in the 6th round, I got Christian Kirk. Right now, he's the number 1 wide receiver on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the year before last, he was a dog all year long. Why can't he get back there? And no one's going to be able to make sense of that, so I got to put him here in the 6th round. At the 5th pick, I got to go George Pickens. I am not in love with George Pickens, but I don't think I could put him any lower than this. He has better quarterback play, and he's now the number 1 guy, so I feel like this makes a whole lot of sense at this spot. After that, I got Jordan Addison. Once again, I gotta rank Jordan Addison lower because I don't know what the quarterback play is going to be. So until I know what it is, I got to have him ranked a little bit lower. You show me they get Justin Herbert, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, I might bump him up a round or 2. Tony Pollard for the Tennessee Titans. I do believe that last year he was hindered by the leg injury. I think if he's fully recovered this year, I think that the Tennessee Titans are going to roll with Tony Pollard and then throw in Tajay Spears exactly how they did last year. And I think Tony Pollard could find a resurgence in his career, and then this could be an absolute steal. At number 8, 6th round, Kyle Pitts. Looking for Kyle Pitts to make a huge splash this year. We keep saying it's going to happen, but he's never had the quarterback play, and now he does. And we all know Kirk Cousins loves his tight ends, so look for him to be looking for Kyle Pitts, especially, where he's wearing number 8. That's the number he's going to recognize first. He's going to be hitting Kyle Pitts raining them with targets all season long. I think Kyle Pitts could be a top 3 tight end as well. Then we have Austin Eckler, who I think is going to be vintage Austin Eckler, like when Melvin Gordon was on the Chargers and Austin Eckler was that pass-catching, change-of-pace running back. That's what he's going to be. He's going to come in, catch passes, come in on third downs, and he's going to do work. He's going to be healthy, and he's on a team that loves to run the ball, and they got a rookie. They're going to have a rookie quarterback. They're going to go to Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. Oh, and I'm sorry, Brian Robinson right before him. Same reasons. They got a rookie running back. They're gonna pound the rock all day long. And then I got Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram was the most underrated tight end last year, and once again with Calvin Ridley gone, I think he's gonna be the same target earner. If he can get a few more targets and catches in the end zone, I think he could be a top 10 tight end, if not top 7. And then finally, in the 6th round, last pick I have for you is Rome Odunze, the third of the big 3 rookies coming out of college. Rome Odunze is an incredible wide receiver. What team is he going to end up on? Is it going to be Atlanta? If he ends up on Atlanta or Chicago, I think I'm going to drop him a little bit lower, probably another 2 rounds, because his ability to get on the field and be that target owner is going to diminish unless someone gets hurt. If he ends up on, I can't even think of a team that he could end up on that would make him worth being someone to draft. If he ended up on drafting this early, if he ended up on the Jets, if he went to Oakland, depending on who the quarterback is, everything is really dependent on what team he ends up on. But right now, I got to have him at the end of the 6th round. So I love those slots. I got another 5 rounds for you. What I'm going to buzz through is defenses real quick, and this is my defensive rankings. I have New York Jets, the Cleveland Browns, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New England, Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Kansas City, and then Baltimore as your number 12. Baltimore was a top defense last year. They lost a lot of weapons. And, Dallas was really good last year. They kind of fell apart at the end. So I need a little bit of, you got to prove it to me that you guys are still that team, because they're probably a top 3 defense, but I got to drop them lower than that because they really kind of pooped the bed towards the end of the season. They lost to Arizona, which was super weird. And then, who cares about kickers? But because I have a couple more minutes, Justin Tucker, number 1. Aubrey from Dallas, Tyler Bass from Buffalo, Myers from Seattle, Jake Elliott from Philly, Butker from Kansas City, Cairo Santos from Chicago, Matt Gay from Indy, Dicker the kicker from the Chargers, Brandon McManus moves to Washington, which could probably make him giving him more kicking opportunities. Younghoe Koo in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins there. Once again, they're going to be in field goal range a lot more often. And then finally, Jake Moody from San Francisco. I was kind of, going back and forth on who to put with this last one. I threw Jake Moody in just because, last year, Super Bowl, tough game. He missed some field goals. So I feel like maybe he's going to come in with a vengeance and try to make up for those things. But with that being said, I really hope that you guys liked the show today, and I'm going to be back next week. I'm sorry I missed you last week. It was a work scheduling conflict. I wasn't able to make it into the studio to record for you, but I'm going to try to make sure I'm here every week going forward. And until next week, I'll see you. Have a great night.